Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the beautiful high desert of Apple Valley, California, which is actually located in the western part of the Mojave Desert. I'm joined here by my fellow colleagues.
Hi, my name is Randy, and today I am going to be talking about the human impact on the Mojave Desert.
My name is Alan. I'm actually doing the scientific research from the human impact on the Mojave Desert that's been left behind from tracks caused by ATVs and other off-road vehicles.
I'm Chris. I'll be talking about the many ways people minimize the effects of off-roading on the desert.
Alright, as you guys can see, y'all are in for a treat. We're going to be talking about the desert biome today.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. So, what is a desert? Well, a desert is characterized by its lack of rainfall. Deserts usually receive 25 centimeters of rain a year, or 10 inches. Another great fact that attributes to how dry it is that the evaporation rate greatly exceeds rainfall, thus making it the driest ecosystem and biome of all. So temperature ranges drastically vary from daytime to nighttime. This is because the area is so arid, meaning it is so dry, there's no humidity, that heat easily escapes at night. For example, in some deserts, the daytime temperatures averages 38 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit and can get down to as low as negative 4 degrees Celsius or 24.8 degrees Fahrenheit at night. As you can see, the drastic differences in our lands. Deserts are found on every continent in the world. In fact, they account for 30% of all of Earth's land masses, or 1/5 of the Earth's land area. Almost all deserts are found on the 30-degree latitude line. Deserts are also home to 1/6 of the world's population, which is roughly 1 billion people.
There are 5 types of deserts: subtropical deserts, such as the Sahara Desert in northern Africa, coastal deserts, such as the Atacama Desert in Chile, rain shadow deserts, such as Death Valley in California and Nevada, interior deserts, such as the Gobi Desert in China and Mongolia, and of course, the polar deserts, such as the ones that you will find in North and South Pole.
So all plants and animals that share this biome, they have to compensate for the lack of water. Cactuses store water in their stems to use very slowly and sparingly. Bushes conserve water by growing few leaves. Some animals only come out at night to hunt for food due to the heat, and some leaves have waxy cuticles to protect plants or protect themselves from harsh conditions and future predation. Some of the animals that you can find here in the desert biome include kit foxes, hawks, rats, reptiles, and also, of course, insects. So you might not think it, but the desert is very important to humans. 1, it's actually an important mineral resource for local and global economy. 13 of 15 mineral deposit types on this planet are all in desert biomes. Salt, borates, gypsum, copper, lead, silver, gold, zinc, uranium, you name it. Nowhere else is more abundant in salt than the desert. Deserts can also be seen as a carbon sink. Certain bacteria in the sand collect and hold carbon dioxide in the air, which in turn helps in preventing additional carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere. As you can see, the lack of water and how dry it is makes the desert very, very vulnerable. Soils, once disturbed, takes an extremely long time to recover.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you guys there. One of the main things I'm going to be talking about today is the human impact on these desert biomes. As you can see right here, one of the major impacts we have on these biomes is off-roading. These freshly made track marks can stay in the soil for several years due to it being very arid and dry with almost no water. These tread marks can prevent the growth of new vegetation in these given areas, and they can even affect the living already there vegetation by affecting how much water that can get to them. As you can see right here, these tread marks actually cut across a naturally flowing water stream that normally would unimpactedly get to those plants. But due to these tread marks, the water can be redirected in a new, different way, preventing them from getting the water they need to live. These plants actually have a multitude of different jobs. They can provide food and shelter for the small critters that live here. And another super important job that they have is their roots are actually one of the main things that is keeping this soil together and preventing it from turning into more of a sand dune-like desert. As you guys can see right here, we're the perfect example of off-roading affecting the environment. Off-roading trucks have created a huge divot right here where all the water is being collected and held up instead of being able to make it to all of the plants in the surrounding area. Follow me, guys. You can see along the ground and right here through these bushes, a pathway was cut through the vegetation for ATVing and off-roading. And as you can see along this path right here, it's still dry and barren. This is still clearly being used all the time for off-roading and ATV use. And right here along this path, it's probably only used a few times, but you can still see the tire marks and the everlasting effect and impact it has had on this environment. As you can see here, we have another detrimental example of how we have affected this environment. You can clearly see in these areas how the tire marks have affected the growth and progression of this grass. So, one of the important things to remember about desert biomes is that due to their lack of abundant resources, their ecosystems can be incredibly fragile. So the slightest bit of human impact on these environments can completely devastate the entire area and ecosystem.
Hey, I didn't see that. How you doing today? So guys, as Randy was saying earlier, human impact has got some detrimental and just drastic changes to the climate of the deserts. It's actually leading to desertification, my portion. So what I did was I researched papers that did the research on tracks left behind due to humans using ATVs, off-road vehicles, dirt bikes, trailers, fifth wheels, you name it. They're out here, they're romping. I'm guilty. I've done it. I know some of you guys done it. Over the summer, where do we go? We go to Glamis. We go to Mountain High. Mountain High actually opens up. We go to Mammoth. Now here in Mojave Desert, we find these dirt roads and we start romping, right? So what people don't know is the tracks left behind. Here, follow me. So the tracks left behind from the ATVs, these right here, these ruin the soil like Randy was saying. They actually kill the plants. The plants' roots, they hold the soil together. They also make homes and they make food for the local wildlife. When the wildlife starts getting damaged, that's the prey. The prey gets damaged, the predators get damaged. The coyotes, the hawks, the eagles, the owls, everything else that feeds off of them. So what the researchers have done, was they actually studied the tracks left behind by the ATVs, human use, and what it does is it compacts the soil, which doesn't let rain actually get absorbed into the dirt. So there's no nutrients, right? So, and it also ruins and destructs the natural flow of water. So let's just say those bushes down there, they actually get directly affected by the water flow. So normally the water would be flowing towards those trees, but it can't anymore due to the fact that we got ruts cut out in the ground. So now it's redirecting the water, and guess where it goes? This little fellow over here is getting plenty of water. Those guys over there, they're not getting very much at all. So they die. All right, guys. So as Randy was saying right earlier, he was talking about all the ruts cut out in the ground due to tire tracks. Well, back in the early 70s and late 60s, scientists actually came out here to the Mojave Narrows and they researched all this loose gravel, right? So what they did was they conducted experiments. They got a sealed off piece of land and they went romping. They used some pieces for 6 months. They went every day, all day. And other pieces of land, they did here and there just as leisure. And for 6 months, they recorded all the activity and everything that happened to it. And in their findings, they noticed that all this compacting of the ground, it actually killed off native species, rats, lizards, insects, bugs. And it also brought in new species that were not native to the environment. So what happened was, all the flat ground, the native plants can't grow there. So it allowed weeds to come in, non-native. So what happens when non-native comes in? The natural habitat, the natural ecosystem, it starts to die. You know, the local bugs, they don't know what that is. They don't eat it. The local animals, they don't know what it is either. So they don't live there. So what the scientists said was, check this out. What's going to happen years to come from all these desert races? He goes, our scale was short. It was small. You know, it was confined. But these big, huge desert races, they're 5 miles wide, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles deep. And they're out here every weekend, every other day, just ruining the environment. So the desertification, that's where that stuff started getting brought up. Basically, it's the destruction of the desert. You can no longer use it anymore. You can't mine it for minerals. You can't mine it for water. You sure can't use it for crop growing. And the local ecosystem, it's dead. Like Ryan said earlier, the desert actually absorbs oxygen and carbon and helps filter the air. It's worthless. All right, guys. So the question that gets brought up is how to resolve this problem. Answer, it's simple, but it's not very effective. The best thing scientists have thought up was make laws restricting the use of ATVs stricter. Down there you see barbed wire gates. That was another answer. And the third one was just have designated areas for ATV use. But let's be real, people break the laws left and right. Barbed wire, it might keep them in, it might not. Signs, no trespassing, that never worked. And the designated areas for strictly ATV use, those get overpopulated. So it's going to happen. So it's up to you and I to actually reinforce some of these laws and make sure people don't go and use their ATVs in unrestricted areas. You know, let your friends know, put signs up, private property, do your best to, you know, help out the ecosystem. And my friend Chris over here, he's gonna let you guys eat more.
Hey, didn't see you up there! Since desert soils are being destroyed by the use of off-roading, there's a new tactic being put in place. As you can see here, one tactic is designated routes. Designated route is an area in which the agency comes in and states that this area will not be affected over a long period of time. The positive of this is that it eliminates areas that are ecologically sensitive. As you can see here, it gives it time to regrow and or it'll help eliminate this area so no further damage. Since the Desert Act of 1994, many parts of the desert have been placed under that act and its safe carrying. This act, many wildlife such as these plants and even animals are able to be protected and reserved. But if you do break the law by riding ATVs or whatever, that means that you are able to get fined or even jail time. In this act, there are many laws and regulations that help prevent the use of off-roading that destroys these natural habitats. The laws include not being able to ride anywhere near the land that's being protected. 2, natural habitats are able to regrow because of it. And then another one is even fines, fees, and even jail time. Non-profit organizations are getting to the local level and having people do one of the following. The first one, presenting footage to law enforcement by pressuring them to do something about it, by even presenting them with a license plate and or tag numbers. Another thing that they're doing is having people use natural debris to block off, for example, a local riding path.
Alright guys, well this is it. This concludes the video. Hope you guys learned something today. The desert is much more important than you would think.
I hope we were able to educate you guys today. Even on something such as small as riding ATVs has a dramatic impact on the ecosystem, on the environment, and on the native species. So please guys, before you guys go out there and start romping around, remember there is a reaction towards your action.
Thank you, take care.
Remember kids, always play safe.
Thanks.